This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square. You're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And a good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode number 127. That's right, 127 episodes from Table 23 until today.
Yeah.
Not all of them from Table 23, so we gotta.
But all of them at peace.
Yeah.
Well, except for the COVID ones we had to do at home.
That's right. We're broadcasting from Pete's Time Out on the porch here in the heart of Times Square, and we want to thank all of our sponsors right quick off the bat here, and that includes Mangaritas Next Door for sponsoring us on Facebook Live, and CCG Certified Public Accountants, Island Oils, Fort Myers Tiki Tours, and of course, our longest and best sponsor of all time, the supporter of all time, and the ones we are most loyal to of all time, and that's John and Debbie Lala. We appreciate them very much, and we, of course, will have a lot to talk about regarding the letter and all your posts from the letter, in which caused us to now be sitting inside from the town of Fort Myers Code Enforcement Office. And before we get to our first guest here, I want to make sure that we thank everybody on Facebook. The comments from everybody that lives in the community or visits the community from out of town that posted comments about the Facebook post that we put up there about the code enforcement letter that we received and threat of $5,000 fine. We want to make sure we thank you. And we want to thank the businesses who said that if something happens, you could come and do the show at our place. That's a long way from the 2 years ago when we started out at Table 23.
Right.
So thank you all for that. That was 2 years ago with a tape recorder and Mean Gene, and then Jackie, who came on the second show, which actually turned out to be the third show because the second show, the tape recorder fell off the table and everything got recorded over. So it was no video back then. It was just audio.
Right.
And so we've come a long way, and we have all of you guys to thank about growing the show and helping tell people about it. So we want to make sure we thank you all for that. We'll have a lot more to say about the letter, but go ahead.
Well, and I wanted to thank everybody who's been supportive of the new website and the newsletter. And I know I talked to a few people last night who are having trouble getting it, and we did have a hiccup in the beginning. So if you got one and you're not getting the rest of them, please let us know. Don't not say something. Please let us know. We want you to get it. You're getting it fixed.
Right. Well, I can explain what happened from the beginning real quick. I'll make it 30 seconds and then we'll get rolling.
No one cares what happened.
Right,
they just want it fixed.
We have two great topics to talk about today, and we want you all to stick around until later on. But what happened was when I first started with the newsletter, I didn't know that there was a second opt-in. Like you'd get an email sent to you, and then you had to opt in to get the email. So that caused confusion because sometimes these things go to spam. So people did sign up, and then I had to go back through all the emails that signed up and resend the letter. But if it still went to your spam, you didn't know. So I took that out. I found out what it was after 5-6 calls. And you know how these tech companies are. You can never get in touch with anybody, a person. Well, you asked for a second sign up. Well, I didn't mean to. So they had to go back. I had to go back. And so anyway, and then what happened this week was we had so many people that registered for the newsletter that they stopped the send again so that they can confirm everybody. Like they thought I grabbed a bunch of emails from a list and put them in there when that wasn't the case. So that caused a little bit of a delay. And you know me, I lose my temper and my cool when there's things that I can't control. Like I can't control the website and I can't control that, or I just try and fix it. And so I had to wait until I can get in touch with somebody. But anyway, the newsletter should be fixed for Tuesday and Thursday. Thank you for that. And we want to thank JPS Vacation Rentals and Nervous Nellies for supporting the supporting the website and the newsletter. You guys have been fabulous. And Marie's going to come on later on. She's our salesperson and our friend, and she's been out calling on you people. And we thank you for being so nice to her, because she could be a real tough cookie to deal with.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
So she's rough.
Anyway, at the second half of the show, Jennifer Nelson is going to join us. She is a town council person from Cape Coral, and she is wicked in favor of the nuisance abatement board that they have out in Cape Coral. We know that's going on here, and the council is considering that. And so we're going to talk to her about why she thought that was a good idea. I know a lot of you out there are not in favor of it because you see it as another level of government. And I'm so in between on this because I'm with a lot of people about levels of government. And I'm also always in Jim Adderholt's corner, and he's in favor of it. And he's also somebody who's a conservative and in favor of less government. So it's an on the fence kind of thing.
I think that's the thing. You can have a difference of opinion and still not get ugly
not
about
just
it.
send somebody a letter in the mail threatening them for anyway. That's for later on in the show, everybody.
I'm gonna go get our guest
all right,
while
so
you read the
real quick, she's
ad.
gonna go. The wife here is gonna go grab our first guest. I did want to tell you about Island Oils real quick because we love Island Oils. You need to go on islandoilsllc.com and order the oil so the bugs stay out of your face and from going up your nose and getting in your pants and crawling up your, you know how it is with bugs and things like that. You spray this great smelling stuff on you. It's all natural and it smells good, and you don't have to put the citronella candles on out in the backyard like I was doing. And I was not only scaring away the bugs, I was scaring away the wife and the dogs, and nobody wanted to be in the backyard because that $3 candle smells awful. And I don't know, for some reason I was starting to fall in love with the smell of citronella, but not anymore. Now that we have the Island Oils spray, it's fabulous.
And the roll-on.
And the roll-on. Oh, is it a roll-on for under your arms? And
No. It's a roll-on for if you get bit, it takes the sting out of the bite and decreases the reaction that you have.
And it's safe for, Tom, I bet you didn't know this, it's safe for children I want to make sure I say 6 months and older. So you can spray it on, you have little kids that are 6 months old, Tom? All right. We're going to ask you to get the microphone nice and close there.
No, I didn't.
All right. Tom is with us from Burnt Store. Tom, we're going to ask you to move a little closer to Kim so we can get you on the camera. And that's going to be our camera right there. This is camera 2. And we have camera 1, everybody, that even though we're not allowed to be out there, we still wanted to make sure every once in a while you could see the beach. So we're going to, longingly look at the beach for the rest of the show. But Tom is here also from Cape Coral, right?
Yes.
Wow.
So thank you for coming to the beach. And
Thank you for
tell us
having
a little bit about what you have going on in Cape Coral that really will impact what's going on here on the beach.
Okay. So what happened is they decided to put a bunch of high lumen, high color temperature LED lights along Burnt Store Road in Cape Coral. And the lights they ultimately chose were commercial parking light fixtures. So instead of focusing the light on the road where it belongs, they're throwing the light out in a 360-degree pattern. So it's invading people's homes and their bedrooms and their lanais. It's light trespass and light pollution. And the American Medical Association, the American Institute of Medical, the International Dark Sky, all say that any color temperature above 3,000 degrees Kelvin can cause cancer, can cause glare, can cause disrupt the circadian rhythm in people and cause sleep pattern disruption, and ultimately life as well, like burrowing owls, fireflies, frogs, migrating birds, sea turtles. Very impacting on the wildlife.
Why would they put parking lights on the road?
So there really, in my personal opinion, it really wasn't responsible engineering. It was just the approach of more light is better light.
Okay.
But really better light is better control light is better light. They need to focus it on the road where it belongs, not into people's homes and into their bedrooms and in the lanai. One neighbor has to put on hurricane shutters just so she can sleep at night. And none of us can use our lanais at night because it's just blinding. It's like being in a Costco parking lot or a prison yard.
Wow. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to show everybody that's watching because, Acero Boulevard is very dark right now. And the town here is going through a bunch of studies to try and figure out how to get lights up for safety, but also make sure they take care of the turtles.
Correct.
And I want to make sure that we talk to you about that. But I want to make sure that we show people what these lights look like out by where you are. And
so are they like on a pole?
Well, yeah, that's
real up high.
It's a 45-foot pole, so it's overly high. And usually you have a roadway extension arm that focuses light over the road.
Okay.
And this one is right straight down. And again, it's a 360 degrees pattern. So they should have used a light, which is called a roadway type 2, which again focuses on the roadway without the backspill. And I tried to talk to LCDOT about that, and they just didn't want to hear it until I finally got a bunch of press going. And then suddenly they were more interested in it.
All right, let's scroll down here. Sorry,
Okay.
dear. Let's scroll down here to show off some of these lights.
Okay.
This is your. Go ahead and explain what we're looking at here.
Well, so their thing was they wanted to light up this multi-use path, okay, but they way overlit it. It's just ridiculous, and that's how affecting the migrating birds.
Okay.
And then there's
Look at that. Looks like a ball field.
It looks like a ball field, a runway, airport runway, and yep. So if you let that one scroll, it will go through.
Okay.
So you can see that's a burrowing owl nest. So by turning nighttime into daytime,
Wow.
it totally confuses the animals. They just don't know what to do with it. And we're actually having the Global Owl Project do a study on these lights and how they affect the burrowing owls here in Cape Coral.
Wow, those are bright lights. So how did it get to a situation, Tom, where these lights are so bright? I mean, you would think that somebody would figure out that they're way too bright.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Well, like I said, they wanted to light up the multi-purpose path. And originally they had a 5,000 degree Kelvin non-dimmable, okay, which would be the absolute worst case scenario. But so I was able to get the submittals from LCDOT on what they were putting in. And I called them out on it. I said, look, you can't put in 5K, non-dimmable. And so that's when they, at the last minute, according to the electrical distributor, they changed to 4K and dimmable. But that's when they changed to the commercial parking lot fixtures to light up the path. Okay. So I tried to give them the studies from the International Dark Sky and the American Medical Association. They just didn't want to hear it. And so they fired them up on Christmas Eve for us.
Nice
Christmas
nice.
present.
It's like turning on the Christmas tree.
Right,
Did you guys have
Right.
floats and things going down the
No,
road
no,
and Santa Claus come
no.
at the end?
So what I did is I
Good try.
built a PowerPoint, which I wanted to show to the Lee County commissioners.
Okay.
They wouldn't respond to me. They just wouldn't answer my calls. They wouldn't answer my emails. And so what I did is I took all the information and taught myself web design and migrated it all to a website.
You
And
don't
I had-
use WordPress, do you? Because what a pain in the ass that is.
I
Gosh.
use Wix.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So this is a county road, right?
right. So I tried to reach out to the Cape Coral City Council, but they said, it's a county road, but there's still Cape Coral residents. So I think they should also be more supportive of our cause.
So what are the chances, in your opinion, that those type of lights could be installed here on it's a county road here?
Well, that's the thing. Is right now, Lee County is in the process of replacing all the legacy high pressure sodium lights, which has that warm orange yellow light, which is more harmonious with the Florida horizons. And they're replacing them all with these high lumen 4,000 degree Kelvin lights throughout all Lee County. So this is not just a problem that's happening on Burnstone Road. This is going to be happening all throughout Lee County.
Is it a cost thing?
I think it's an ignorance thing. I don't know. It's
A what?
Ignorance. They
thing.
just don't. They don't want to listen to the American Medical and all these other. I ended up giving them a 200 page bound report on all the scientific data. And I actually hired a forensic engineering firm to analyze what was done on the road. And they all said it's wrong. There's too much light spill. It's exceeds the International Illumination Society regulations. They should be replaced.
Now, do you know the cost difference between
Zero.
it's the same cost?
Same cost. Yeah.
Whether it's 4,000, 3,000, 5,000.
Correct.
And then it's not only the kelvins that
Right.
the light's putting out, but it's also the fixture that they're attached to as well.
Correct. Yeah, the illumination pattern. So the roadway type 2, which was originally specified, focuses the light on the road. And the roadway type 5 is a 360 degree parking lot. So it just throws it everywhere indiscriminately. So it's not designed very well. And they should have had a thing called a point-to-point photometric layout, Okay, that's step one if you're designing.
Everybody knows that, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
but they are in the process of doing that. That
Right.
there has been done somewhat
Right.
has done one down
Right.
here.
Yep. So that's the first step, is figuring out the road and where the fixtures go and what the illumination pattern is. And so after the Cape Coral Breeze article, I met with LCDOT, and I asked them, the factory engineers had told me, ask them for three things: a point-to-point photometric layout. They said they will not or cannot provide it. I said a post-sales performance review by the factory, and they said they refused. And I said an independent study by a licensed certified engineering firm. They refused. That's when I had to spend my own money to hire the firm to generate this report and do the analysis on it, and said it's wrong.
So you went out on your own and hired a firm
Yep.
to
Yep.
analyze the light.
Yeah, and it has to be, because it's licensed certifies, it has to be unbiased. Okay, so it's not like I hired somebody to say what I wanted them to say. And the other thing is that this is happening all throughout the country right now, and the change of International Dark Sky to 3,000 or below Kelvin fixtures is a nationwide thing. But I'm trying to get Lee County commissioners and the LCDOT and Florida DOT to start adopting these principles, like was done in Collier County and what we're trying to do here on Fort Myers Beach.
So the history of that road was that somebody got hit by a bike because there were no lights.
A car, kid crossing the road. Yeah.
Okay. Did he die?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I mean,
It doesn't really
I
matter.
know. I don't
Yeah.
know why I asked that
But
question, but so that people wanted lights.
yeah, but they didn't. Even the guys that wanted the lights were surprised at how much light they got and how invasive it was.
And you were saying one lady has to put up her hurricane
Yes.
shutters.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and God forbid if she has a fire, they won't be able to get out of the house.
Yeah.
You know,
So why not shut off every other light or something like that?
that would be great. I mean, there's also a thing called a light trespass shield, and that could be done. After the NBC2 news piece on the television, they said they were going to do that. The factory says they never contacted them. So that would be one step. I actually offered to buy a dozen of them to put up and say, here, try them. And they refused. They said, if we do that, then that's the end of it. We won't do anything else.
And you were saying this is an example of bad lighting that people all over the country are looking at.
Yeah, except once I got the website up, I started attracting attention locally here in Florida, and then it started going out through all the conservation and activists, lighting, activists throughout the country, and it's sort of become sort of the worst case scenario for lighting. They're using this sort of as a benchmark for how bad it can be.
Well, and I think, when you have light like that, then you put on sunglasses because of the glare.
Yep.
And then, thank you, dear. And then you're driving in and out, and your pupils are like going crazy.
Exactly. Well, that's it. Is the above 3K, American Medical Association, all the other ones say it actually causes more glare and it causes retina damage. Okay, so the point is, if they could have done it reasonably, they could have done it responsibly. They could have done the right fixtures with a color temperature of 3,000 below. It would cost the same money. They put shields on them. It's $100 more a shield. And they could have done, and I told them that before they did it, but they just wouldn't listen.
So why it seems like the Fort Myers Beach folks have been studying the lights on Sierra Boulevard for a lot of years.
Yep.
Why is it so difficult to put lights in that don't damage the human eye and don't kill turtles?
I don't know. It
have
shouldn't be that.
It's a safety issue.
There's all the scientific studies. That's, like I said, I gave them that 200-page bound report. It's all there, and they just choose to ignore it.
Is it the Department of Transportation? Is it FPL?
Yeah. It's a combination. The Department of Transportation is one problem. The other thing is that lights are a big recurring revenue for the power companies. Okay, so the high pressure sodiums, nice looking ones, use more power. LEDs are more efficient, but they're harsh and glaring, but they use less power. So in order to get the recurring revenue, they use more of them.
I know when you're driving and a car has those LED headlights, it is brutal.
It really causes retina damage. And if you were to go up Bernstore Road and just go past Bernstore Road, past Cape Coral, and go into Punta Gorda, their lights are soft. You can see better. There's no glare. They have lighting shields against the Charlotte Harbor Nature Preserve. It's done perfectly. And now they're expanding Bernstore Road all the way up. and they've got the same lighting designer from Johnson Engineering who's going to repeat the same thing. And like I say, what we allow is what we continue, and that's why I'm fighting so hard to change this.
So Charlotte County, one of my questions was, is there a county or is there a place that's doing it the right way?
Yes, Charlotte County, Collier County actually revised their whole lighting standards, and that's to accept international dark sky compliant. Okay, and that's one of the things I'm fighting for, is to get Lee County to wake up and see that, originally when LEDs came out, it was a wild, wild west as far as standards. That's all changed now. So the information's there. So why not adopt environmentally and ecosystem friendly standards like Collier County did and like Punta Gorda did?
So what is the next step for you? I mean, it seems like you're fighting a battle by yourself that you're not going to win.
Well, my middle name is Tenacity. So,
really?
Yeah.
How do I get that? I mean, where'd you get that? Is that on your birth certificate?
Yeah. And so I have 550 people on the petition. And
but doesn't sound like a lot, though.
Well, it was in 1 month. And after I met with LCDOT, I realized it wouldn't matter if I had 500 or 5 million. They were never going to admit they were wrong. So one of the things is that in Davis, California, they set a legal precedent when the residents got up in arms and made them change the lights. So I'm working on that. I'm going to appeal to the Lee County commissioners again. And then it's lawyer time. I don't want to go that route. But
right.
I think because there's a legal precedent that Davis County did it, because they're in possession, I sent certified, those 200-page reports were all sent certified mail. So they're legally in possession of all those facts. And so something needs to be done. So that would be the last straw, I guess.
It seems like you have a bunch of time on your hand too. Like this is a full-time thing. Like, what do you do? What's your?
So I've been in the electronics industry for about 50 years, and what I do is high-end, multifaceted systems integration.
Of course.
For
I do that too.
He can't
for
even say
high-end
that.
residential applications.
Does that require a lot of reading or?
Well, I had to do a lot of research in order to build the website and make sure my facts were all correct. So when I was building the website, I researched photometrics and took online courses and spoke to the factory engineers, and they agree it's wrong. The factory engineers who sell the product and made the product say, this is wrong. This is not the right fixture.
It's the wrong application.
It's the wrong application.
Okay.
Period. And it's just the LCDOT and Johnson Engineer will never admit they're wrong unless the public speaks out, and the public gets confused because they think we're against lights. It's not that we're against lights. We're against lights that are harmful to people and wildlife. Why would you do it wrong when you can do it?
There's nothing
for the
worse
same
in
price?
life than to be known as a light hater. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
They have
But
that
I get a
hatched
lot of
on
hate.
you.
Yeah, I get a lot of hate mail on Facebook. That's for sure.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah, I had one guy who was stalking me, and this guy Stu, and he was like, I'd put up my road signs, and he would take them down.
Why
every
did
time.
you need road signs?
Well, I was trying to draw attention to the website. So when LCDOT when Lee County commissioners wouldn't answer my phone calls or emails, I said, okay, I got to go public with this. That's when I built the website. I put up the road signs, and I went door to door to 300 people on Burnstore Road, talked to them, handed them a flyer, and say, sign the petition.
Did you have a permit for your road signs? Could have been against an ordinance. You never know.
It's just like a political road sign, same signs, same thing,
Gotcha.
So, but this guy was a stalker.
Politics wins out all the time. Now, speaking of politics, you said you called Kevin Ruane. Did you get some feedback that you felt like was going to be helpful?
I was amazed. After almost 3/4 of a year not hearing anything from anybody, I sent Kevin an email. Next day I got a phone call, and we spent about an hour talking, and he's aware of his word was horrific. He saw the website and he goes, this is horrific, because they're international dark sky friendly out there in Sanibel. So he knows that this problem is a big problem. So hopefully when he gets in there, and also Frank Mann has said that he's in favor and supportive of protecting the natural beauty of Florida. Hopefully Frank Mann will get together with Kevin, and maybe some change will get.
Now,
we had a request to put the lights back up so people. But go ahead and talk, and I'll be like the computer guy.
Have you gotten any support? Because, like here on Fort Myers Beach, the Turtle Time people, they're very active.
Yep.
Out there, it's owls. So,
Yep.
have you gotten any support from
Oh yeah.
an owl group or
yeah.
the Audubon Society?
Yeah,
or
we have the Global Owl Project doing a study on Cape Coral lights and the owls, and all the conservation groups in Florida, Sanibel Captiva Conservation Society, Cindy Johnson out here in Fort Myers Beach has been helping. So there's been a lot. Hank from the Cape Coral Coyote Group. Pasha Donaldson from the Friends of Wildlife in Cape Coral. So all these people have been helping us.
So
and they've been contributing to. Do they have studies as well that they've been able to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they all know about this too.
it's bslighting.org.
Yes, exactly.
BS is in
Burnt Store or Bravo Sierra.
or
Bravo Sierra.
what is Bravo Sierra?
Bravo, that's military.
Well, you
Yeah.
can say it. It's a podcast.
Bullshit. Okay.
All right. He said it, not me. So it's bslighting.org, and you can. Is your petition still up so people
Yeah,
can
oh,
sign
yeah.
it? We have 9 listeners every once in a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that's a little more tricky. That's change.org/P/BS lighting, but there is a link to it on the website as well.
So if you go to bslighting.org, you can find the PS, whatever you just said.
change.org.
Is it somewhere where
It's on the first page and
All right.
pretty much on the last page
Well,
as well.
if you go to bslighting.org, you can find the petition. So
Correct.
what advice do you have for the
Yeah.
folks on the beach here so they can do the right thing and get the lights up and pick the right lights? And if you were on the town council here in Fort Myers, what would you do?
I'd listen to the science. I would listen to the science. I mean, they have the
What are
documentation.
the right lights for this beach?
This beach would require probably what they call adaptive lighting, which might change depending on the time of year and where it's located.
The
Okay.
changing lights. I remember Dan
yep.
Aller's talking about the changing lights.
Adaptive lighting.
Adaptive lighting. And in sea turtle nesting season, it should really be probably an amber light, definitely not a short waveform blue light, but an amber. So maybe like 1,000 degree Kelvin. So that's what
That's
you really.
that's real far off from 5,000 white light or blue
Exactly.
light, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's safe for the turtles,
Yep.
safe for the humans,
Yep.
and good for the street to at least better than, I mean, it's pitch dark right now.
And that's because of the controversy.
What's the cost going to be?
So these fixtures, like the ones along Burnt Store Road, are like $1,000 a fixture.
Yeah.
So they could do the whole thing for $132,000 to replace all the fixtures.
You're talking about Burnt Store Road.
Burnt Store Road.
Well, I'm
yes.
talking
I don't know
about-
about the ones. I don't know how.
Well, how long is Burnt Store Road?
Well, the place they've done it is maybe 3 or 4 miles.
Okay, well, I don't think we're talking about, what are we talking about here? In a mile and a half, 2 miles?
Yeah.
Not even 2 miles. What is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You run, I don't run. It's about a mile and a half, right?
Yeah. So Florida is listed as one of the states that has statutes in place for international dark sky regulations applying to sea turtles, but it's only loosely and it's not really enforced. That's why they put up 4K fixtures above the sea turtle nesting areas. So it has to be, people need to be made aware of it, and they need to hammer at the politicians and people that are making the decisions and say, look, this can't go on. Here's a solution. And I think the adaptive lighting would be the right solution for down here.
Well, can you come and speak to the town council and fill them in?
I'd be happy, but
You get 3 minutes.
Well, I'm trying to do
I mean,
that.
I think that his
but maybe
information
he
is
could
great.
Provide that 200-page.
I'm happy to send it to Cindy. Cindy sent me the
Cindy Johnson.
Cindy
Yeah.
Johnson sent me the information about the adaptive lighting for Fort Myers Beach.
She's great with the turtles.
Mhm.
Have
Yeah.
you ever been out one of those turtle hatching things or hatchling things?
Not when it's actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I imagine it's awesome.
She got to go. I wasn't.
Well, I got
invited.
to
She
go
got to go.
On the 3-day dig. Not, they don't like you to go out at night when they're trying to get
Do
there.
they have
but-
turtles in Cape Coral?
There are, and that's the whole thing, is because this is along the waterway, it affects not only not sea turtles there, but regular turtles and
The ones that cross the road at super slow speed?
yeah, exactly, and frogs and all of these
Frogs.
different- Yeah.
Like
So-
what? What kind of frogs? How many different species of frogs are there in Cape Coral?
That I couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that everything is connected, and when there's no bugs for the birds to eat, and when
Yeah.
there's no fireflies,
The whole
then
ecosystem thing goes to
it's
shit.
all
Well,
there.
and I will say, because it was just I went up and saw the eclipse a couple of years ago in
Oh,
South
here we go with
Carolina.
this eclipse
No,
story
no,
again.
and the animals, as that eclipse started to happen and it got dark, the cows got quiet.
Oh,
all
stop.
the night.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Oh,
I'm not
stop.
kidding you. It was amazing.
Oh,
all the
please.
nighttime
You're making things
stuff
up
came
now.
up, and
Yeah.
then when the light came back on,
Yep.
you could really tell how confused.
It's
all-
You were
it-
confused,
no,
not the cows.
it was an amazing experience.
it's called
but
it's called the circadian rhythm. And
Of
the
course it
the
is.
circadian
Tom.
rhythm.
Everybody knows
you have
that.
it too.
Yeah. Well, it's on the website, but everybody can look up circadian rhythm. It's
It's on
basically
the lighting website.
on my site. Yep.
That's no BS, though, right?
No
Okay.
BS. But it's basically the transition from light to dark and how we need to have that for our sleep patterns. And when you disrupt that by turning nighttime into daytime,
Yeah.
it just raises hell with everybody. That's one of the reasons I think we have such a bad coyote problem. is 'cause
Right.
They're desensitized to it. now
Crazy.
because
It has nothing to do with the construction and the coyotes being pushed out into the road, right?
I think it's a combination of a
Yeah.
lot of things.
I often pondered how people live in Alaska. Like, I mean, it's total darkness, right? For
I tell you.
23 hours.
I was
It's like
talking
being
Kim,
in prison. You get that 1 hour to go out and shoot some hoops with your bros, and
we used to live in Connecticut on a mountain. And
just
we have
as bad.
No, it was perfect. It was beautiful. You
Oh.
can see the stars. You can't see the
Yes.
stars down here.
Yes, you
But we'd have
cannot.
people from New York City come to visit us, and they were freaking out because it was so dark. You know?
Oh, too many stars for them.
Yeah. Oh, not enough
Well,
streetlights.
there's not enough. I mean, Oneana, you'd drive on roads. There weren't streetlights, but you could still figure out where
Lots
you
of
were
deer
going.
crossing the road.
Yeah,
in
And
that
I
that's
time.
don't,
right. You
I
get-
don't, I don't understand. It's like down here, they're straight, flat roads, and up there we had twisty, curvy roads through mountains with deers jumping in front of you.
Yeah,
And we didn't have that many accidents comparatively.
I don't run into many deer down here. Do you?
No, never seen one.
Well, we had one run into the side of my car over
Yes,
at the
airport. That
Okay.
was frightening.
It
for her.
was right into the side
Oh,
of it.
I had
know,
to protect
I've,
her from the deer. She
I
was
know.
so
You're
afraid.
They're the fierce deers. You got to watch
Tom,
out for the fierce deers.
We want to thank you for coming all the way
Thank
down
you
to
for
the
having
beach and sitting on the inside. Pete's Timeout's lovely on the inside, up on the porch here. Do
Yep.
you know there used to be a road out there? Did you know that? Back in the day, that used to be a road out
really?
there.
Wow.
People would just sit out and people watch and
Yep.
look out to the road. I don't know why I brought that up, but we thank you for coming down and good luck with your lighting situation out
Yep.
there. And hopefully someday on the beach we'll have some lights to talk about.
Like the Joni Mitchell said, the song says they paved paradise and they put up a parking lot, and that's exactly what's happening. And if we don't do something about it, it's going to happen all throughout Lee County.
I thought that was Meatloaf.
No, this is Joni Mitchell.
Or was that Paradise by the Dashboard Light? I get
Yes.
them confused all the time. Is she
Yeah,
still
Meatloaf
alive,
and
Joni?
Yes.
Mitchell still
Yeah.
alive?
Yes, she is.
She is?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Thank you again.
Tom, thank you.
so much
BS
for
Lighting.
putting up with him.
BSlighting.org is the website, and Tom's got some stadium lights for you to buy if you'd like to head out to Burnt Store Road in Cape Coral. And before we get to our next guest, everybody, and please stay tuned for the entire program because we have lots to talk about at the end of the show as well. We want to thank Tom. And, oh, look, you can see everybody in the back there. It's such a lovely view. That's Angela. She's one of our great waitresses here at Pete's Time Out. CCG Certified Public Accounts is one of our sponsors. And we love Steve and the gang at CCG Certified Public Accountants. Over 100 years in tax preparation. You know, I've delayed my taxes until October every year, and Steve is always there helping me out. And the folks at CCG are great. They socially distance. They can do more than tax prep. They can do your future. If you want to save some money, I don't know why you want to save money, but if you like to save money, you should give them a call. They'll set you up on a plan. Maybe you want to save some money for a child you just had because, you know, people, when they grow up, they want to have some money and they want to have something to dig into. And, you know, they'll set you up with all of that. The what do you call that? Investing and saving for the rest of your life and, you know, getting ready for the coffin when you need the coffin, the whole thing. You can check them out at CCG. CPAS.com, CCG, CPAS, because that stands for Certified Public Accountants.com, 239-992-1973. If you want somebody that you can trust, you want to get in touch with those folks at CCG because you don't want to go to somebody. It's like going to a mechanic who tells you need $3,000 worth of car work when you really think you only need an oil change. And holy shit, now, oh my God, $3,000. I can't even drive the car now because it's broke. But really, you only needed an oil change. So you want somebody that you can trust, and that is Steve at CCG. I just read like a 3-minute ad for Steve. It was only supposed to be 2. Is everything okay? You look frightened.
I think you should check your phone because I don't see our next guest and your phone was ringing. So
okay.
sometimes I feel like
Well, why don't you read about
You want me to
tiki
read?
tours?
All
Yes, we
right.
can do this. Yeah,
Yes.
tiki tours. Go ahead.
well, as soon as I get to the page, but I can talk about the tiki tours because we've been on them. They're amazing. You can get 6 people on, make your reservation. You bring on your own food and drink. They provide the ice. They go a nice slow speed. You get your own captain. So you don't have to do anything. You just go out there, have a couple of drinks, and do whatever. Hello, how are you? That's all right. So you must, well, I'm going to finish this ad and then we'll get right to it. So Fort Myers Tiki Tours, they can be reached at 239-887-0042. And they do sunset tours, dolphin, birthday parties, sightseeing, team building, special occasions. And they're adorable little tiki boats. People will take your picture all day as you're kind of motoring up and down through the bay. So please give them a call and help them out, and welcome. Let me, I don't want to get your name wrong. Jennifer Nelson. It's a little easy name, right? And this is, so you're our second guest today, and you're the second person from Cape Coral. So welcome. We had Tom Howard for lighting. He's dealing with the Burnt Store Road lighting. So yeah. So welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. And we're going to be talking about the nuisance abatement information and stuff, right? So tell us a little bit.
Thank you.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been on the council and all of that.
Sure. So my name is Jennifer Nelson. I'm a city council member in the city of Cape Coral, District 4. I am entering in my third year on council, completing my third year on council. I have 2 more to go because one of our council members who's no longer with us decided to bring that to a vote, and now we do even year elections. So I got a bonus year. Yay.
All righty. Very cool.
So I helped. I am not the council member that initially brought the.
Oh, don't jump ahead yet.
Okay,
Don't jump ahead yet.
sorry.
And that's our camera right there.
Sorry.
If
Hi.
no problem. You can look any way you want. I know she's when I put her in charge of things, she freaks out. So
Well,
she
I
can't really
don't
handle it.
freak out, but you'd give me no warning.
Well, if I wasn't
it's
so
like
old, I wouldn't need a
impromptu.
bathroom break every 30 minutes. But
You
and
really
we
need to get a catheter. Or
we
something.
apologize for we're usually outside,
okay.
but we got code violated during the week, so
Oh.
we're inside now.
Oh,
But it's a
goodness.
long story. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing. Never mind.
Oh.
So, how long have you been on the council now? You just said
3,
that.
Yeah,
sorry
3
about
years.
that.
It'll
So,
be 3 years in November.
awesome. So, why did you run for council? Why did you think it was something you wanted to do?
Well, I never thought I would ever want to be in politics, but I have lived in Cape Coral now for 12 years. My daughter and I moved here when she was 3, and she was about 11 years old. She's 15 now, and she said, Mommy, I'm going to go to Berkeley. We moved here from Northern California. I'm originally a Texan, but she said, Mommy, I'm going to go to Berkeley. And I said, great. I said, when you get done with your education, you're going to come back to Cape Coral and take care of your mom, right? And she said, no. And I said, why? And she said, because I would never move here. I've never moved back here. There's nothing here for me. And when she said that, it just got me thinking. And I thought, I've lived now in 3 different states, and I've seen so many different things, being a native Houstonian, living in Austin forever and ever, and then moving out to the North Bay area in California. I thought, there's got to be something I can do to help with my leadership skills and my expertise in certain things. Nonprofit background is what I have, and fundraising and efficiency expert. I love all those things. And so I decided to run. And I was at that point, I think everybody was really exhausted of the antics that we were seeing among our council at the time, and our previous mayor, who, was a dear friend, and I wish her so much happiness. But I think a lot of us were just kind of tired of seeing all that. And,
Yeah.
And I know that the group that I ran with, we all said the same thing. We want to restore some type of consensus back to the dais. We want to restore some type of working together, because you don't always agree on the votes, right? You don't. I mean, our mask ordinance, I hate to bring it up, but that's a perfect
that was the next
example.
question I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, that was a perfect example. I mean, 3 of us voted to support it, and 5 voted to not support it. And, at the end of the day, you're not going to always agree, right? It's like any other partnership or marriage, or, you're not going to agree, but you don't have to be nasty to one another.
So let's talk about the mask ordinance real quick
Sure.
before we get to the nuisance abatement board. You know, so much is going on that's similar to what was going on here. And we all watched, you guys went through it for a couple of days. I think you came up once and somebody had to leave, so you didn't have a quorum. And then, but the public was so involved and they were so passionate one way or the other. And
Colorful.
It was like
even.
standing room only. And we, they had that down here at the town council. Unfortunately, they didn't do enough, in our opinion, a promotion of it where people knew the mask, because everybody was debating the mask. I
Right.
mean, every council, Sanibel was having, you know, lots of people talk about it. You guys were in town of Fort Myers, and they just brought it up in a meeting where they said they were going to talk about COVID, and nobody was there to talk about it. They passed it here 3-2. I don't think it would have changed if people were there. People were setting their ways on that. What did you think about how the community interacted with you guys when you brought up the mask ordinance?
You know, it was probably one of the most difficult votes, the most challenging time in our council chambers. I had never seen that many people come out to protest something or speak for something. It was mostly protesting. I think, you know, I thought, of course, you know, I'm grateful to hear what constituents think. It was a little bit surprising to me to have so many folks running for office from other areas
Right.
of Lee County come to our meeting.
Right.
You know, to speak their truth or to give, unfortunately, some wrong information. So, you know, for me, I think it was difficult. It was a challenge. You know, you can debate it every which way from Sunday. You know, you can say, well, the data is not correct, or, you know, what Lee Health is giving you is wrong because they get money for every positive COVID test. And, you know, whether I believe that or not, I can't really say. I go on what the data that's given to me by our fire department, by our first responders, and by Dr. Antonucci at Lee Health. When I went to even the county commission meetings and I listened to him speak, you know, I have to go on what the data is that's presented to us, right? And that's what I try to do, is make a data-driven decision. I don't like going on emotion, and I certainly don't like going on half-truths or conspiracy theories, or, you know, I don't go down those rabbit holes.
All the conspiracy theories aside, what are your thoughts on when the people came up that were being reasonable but felt like you were encroaching on their rights, you know, by pushing something on them? Because there was an interaction between you and the speakers. You voted and you all talked about it in your voice. But what is your thought about when people say that?
Well, you know, people can always speak their truth, and everybody's going to be passionate about something, right? And so some were a little bit alarming. They're a little bit scary. I'm not going to pretend it wasn't, because we had some interesting folks that came and you know, quoted scripture and
Right.
you know, threatened throwing Bibles and all kinds of interesting things. But, you know, that's part of the job. And for me, my response to that was, I went back and I had looked at all of the quote unquote civil liberties that people complained about, like wearing a seatbelt, wearing a helmet, you know, changing the drinking age, changing the smoking in public. All of those things, you know, to me are similar. And we had now congressional candidate Byron Donalds, who came and, you know, said that we were violating the Florida statute and the Constitution, which I was able to phone a friend during the break in Tallahassee and say, hey, can you get me the statute that there's a part in it I know that reads about public safety? And you know, without going into all the detail, because I can't quote it, if you look at that statute, it clearly states that home rule, first and foremost, municipalities govern themselves. It kind of gave the order, but then it also said that health and safety issues basically trump, for lack of a better word, they trump everything else. So if it's a health and safety concern of our residents, of our constituents, then yes, you can make that decision. So there's two ways to look at it. I mean, I went back, I researched in the 80s, the whole seatbelt thing. I remember being a kid and seeing alarming commercials about it and what would happen if you didn't wear a seatbelt.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing to me. People will argue that, but you know, you can argue anything.
Do you believe masks work?
I believe they help. Absolutely. When you're in a confined space, or, you know, you're in close quarters. I mean, I wear a mask into chambers only because, you know, I sit on the dais with a mom who has a young baby at home, and I also sit on the dais with, a council member who's over 80. So I try to be respectful of that. I'm a little bit more lax when I'm outdoors because if you recall, the CDC had the 3 C's, no closed quarters. I can't remember the other 2, but I remember the no closed quarters. And I figure when I'm inside shopping or, my mother now, she's 82, she's with me right now visiting from Houston. So I try to be respectful of that. But yes, I do think that they help some.
Anything on the mask, dear?
No.
All right.
Are you ready to move on
yes.
to what we brought her down here
the
for?
Nuisance
Thank
Abatement
you.
Board. So I don't know if you've been following what's going on down here in Fort Myers Beach, but we had a murder, and that kind of seemed to kickstart the discussions of a nuisance abatement board. Somebody found out there was one in Fort Myers that was used to close down a business, but doesn't really meet very often. And then was mentioned that Cape Coral has one now. And I believe you're in favor of a nuisance abatement board. You helped, you and another council member.
Well, so we handled it.
Tell us the history about yours.
Yeah. So what we did is we handled it from the noise ordinance side. So our noise ordinance was more nuisance abatement. We had, we tackled that. I say we, Councilmember Gunter, who's in District 1, he actually was the person that spearheaded it. It didn't go so well because we had a lot of businesses come, a lot of the bars come, and we're a very unique city. As you know, we have residential butting up right next to entertainment. So there's no buffer. So in that sense, it worked with us because we had a lot of stakeholders. We passed it, and then I brought it back up to change it and put together a group of people to help come to consensus. So in that sense, it helps, I think, for us in terms of, I don't know that we've put one together because of a murder. So I would have to ask the chief on that.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to bring that up.
Okay,
for
so
that
yours got started with noise.
Noise, correct.
Okay,
correct.
Are there any other circumstances under which that board has?
Yeah,
purview over
code enforcement type items. They work directly with our code enforcement department to help. When people's got the biggest complaint I think I see is parking on the grass or too many boats in a yard or dilapidated vehicles parked on grass. Well, we changed the ordinance to now we don't allow parking on the grass. So that was a whole nother discussion.
Right.
But yes, they assist really with code enforcement type issues.
What kind of teeth does it have?
Pretty good. We listen, as a council, we love to listen to the residents, and especially if there's a stakeholder group involved where we've mirrored constituents and professionals along with city staff. We love it. For us, I like to hear it because I feel like I see all sides. Sometimes when an ordinance is brought forward, it's usually recommended by staff. So we don't always have a professional side to it. So I'll give you for instance, I brought a fertilizer ordinance up and we changed it and it was like split 4-4. So it didn't pass. I thought it was great. We have a whole department of scientists, environmental scientists in our staff. They're very bright. They work in conjunction with FGCU. But the piece that we missed is we didn't have any professionals. So we didn't have anybody on the other side, on the lawn care side, on the fertilizer business, to be able to come and give their input. So I think that's why it didn't pass.
Yeah.
But the good news is we learn from things like that. So now we have a stakeholders group coming in with 3 professionals, 3 resident environmentalists, and then our scientists on staff.
So then, go ahead.
No.
So the nuisance abatement board, how can you convince people that another level of government is not, it's almost kind of like the same thing of you feel like you're infringing with the masks. And then here's another level of government. You got code enforcement, you got the sheriff's department, you have your own police department.
Right.
Why do you need a nuisance abatement board, or how did you convince people that you did when you have a police department? What's the difference?
Because a nuisance abatement board allows, like I said, people from different walks of life and different backgrounds. And it's not just all law enforcement, or it's not just all code enforcement. It's going to be, my 70-year-old neighbor who maybe lives behind me, who was a, what did he do? He was a waste management specialist.
Mm-hmm.
He might be a good person, or we may have another resident who's, say, in the medical field who wants to be on it. To me, the nuisance abatement board gives you an opportunity to have different points of view. And when you have something like that and you bring it to a governing body, me as that governing body, me as that elected official, I like to look at all sides of the argument. And I feel like a board like that allows us to do that.
So go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I think some of the concern is,
I'm so hot.
well, I know
Yeah,
it's,
we were
it's
trying to turn the
muggy
fan
and
around.
the fan is there, but we couldn't really. I know. I got up to.
No, that's
She got up to go to the bathroom. She's going to make
No,
it sound
you
like.
look young.
No, you're
It's
good.
It's good.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I think, some of the concern is that it turns neighbors against neighbors. Now,
Sure.
has that been an issue?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
we have so many neighbors who like to call and tattle on one another.
It's crazy.
And I mean, I hate to be. I mean, I like to
Right.
make a joke of it, but it's true. It happens.
Right.
We've got code enforcement that goes out because of a complaint of a neighbor. They like to remain quote unquote anonymous. And then, you've got your neighbor looking outside going, who was it that complained on me? But again, when you bring a group of people like that together, it allows the governing body to make a very sound decision because you have so many different points of view. And I think that's important.
Well, and I think that the nuisance abatement board here on Fort Myers Beach is a different.
It sounds like a different animal. It sounds like it's mostly
completely
about
different
safety.
animal.
Yeah.
So on the safety part of it for your board, does the safety issue come up a lot?
Oh yeah. I mean, and we always, we talk a lot about that. Public safety is always our number one concern, especially with sidewalks, streetlights, that type of thing. But that definitely comes up because it's part of it. You could argue that having grass 5 feet high in a yard isn't safe because it, breeds rodents or whatever the complaint is. So absolutely.
Have you had a business or a bar or restaurant that is really a bad actor? And that there was nothing really that the police department could do, and then the NAB got involved and worked on it.
Not in my time. I mean, I would say the closest thing we had was with our noise ordinance. The biggest complaint was we had an establishment that was literally right across the street from the condo complex.
Yeah.
And at some of our very first meetings when we talked about the noise ordinance, this establishment came forward and they were very vocal, not so nice, a little bit irreverent, but part of that I think is a level of maturity. They're different generation maybe than some of us. But in the end, they ended up putting up noise buffers and being a great partner with the neighbors and inviting the neighbors, and the neighbors go there. So it ended up being really good.
And that was because the board got involved?
Yes, I think it was because so many people got involved.
And that's not really a police thing. That's not
No.
you don't want the police wasting time
but
on.
our police were, because the problem is you have residents calling the police saying, hey, they're too loud.
Yeah.
They're violating the noise.
And they got to waste their time on something like that.
Correct. And then the police, our Chief Newland was just getting frustrated because he's like, how do we measure this? How do we measure this so that, are we measuring it from the complainant's location, or are we measuring it from the edge of the property?
And what are you using to
Correct.
measure it? It's the same thing they have down
Correct.
here.
So he and Councilmember Gunter did a fantastic job kind of leveling that playing field and saying, hey, this is how we're going to measure it moving forward. And this is what we recommend the decibel level be before 11 and after 11.
It's a little bit different down here because there's no police department. So the sheriff's department is down here, and you want them handling
Oh, sure.
the serious crimes. And unfortunately, the bad actor down here is where all the serious crimes take place or have been taking place, including the murder, but that's for a different day. Now, the chief was wicked in favor of the NAB.
Oh, yeah. He's a great support of things like that. I mean, there's never been anything that I have gone to my chief with where he hasn't been supportive. If he doesn't understand it, like, I put together a homeless task force recently because we're seeing a lot more homeless people. We anticipate.
In Cape Coral?
Yes. Can you
Wow.
believe it? Yes. And we've gotten a lot of complaints about it.
Where do they
Congregate mostly downtown in the entertainment district, so District 1. And we get a lot of complaints from residents about it. And fortunately, our police department, our police chief, they all agree that, arresting people that are homeless isn't really the answer.
Sure.
It doesn't stop the problem. And, having a nonprofit background, I know that oftentimes homelessness, mental health, and addiction issues all go hand in hand. And you're not going to help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. So I started that homeless task force, and at first the chief was like, well, what's it going to look like? Because I was thinking about doing a a homeless outreach team to go out and meet the homeless and try to, get them. And I said, well, a task force would bring in everybody who does these types of services. So people from Lee County, Health and Human Services, you've got somebody on it from Lee Health Hospital Board. So it really gives us again, and he's been very, very supportive of it. Now that he understands that, hey, we want to try to take what Lee County's doing and what we have in Fort Myers, which is the Bob Janes Triage Center. We want to bring something maybe smaller like that to Cape Coral so that our law enforcement and our first responders don't have to always go across the bridge.
And so that's up and running now?
Yeah.
And have you seen positive outcomes, or has it not been running long enough
we
yet?
are still in the infant stages.
Okay.
As a municipality, we're not in the homeless business. How we can help is by maybe providing a building or offering, no rent, offering minimal expenses, but we don't do the services portion. That would be up to an organization like Salvation Army or Catholic Charities or St. Matthew's House, like one of those types that handle the homeless services.
But the task force is up and running.
Is up and running, and we've gone
coordinating
on
all of
tours.
those.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, and we love it. I mean, I've learned so much. I mean, I thought, having been with Goodwill Industries for 24 years, I was on the revenue generating side, not the services side. So having had that background, I thought, oh, I'm prepared, but I learned something new every day.
So what advice do you have for the folks down here about the nuisance abatement board, both the residents and the town council? Because they are now, they've prepared an ordinance. I think it's mostly has a lot to do with the state's input from whatever the state laws are, and maybe Fort Myers. I could be talking out the wrong side of my nose there, but
No.
I don't know if they looked at your ordinance. Maybe they did, but so what is your advice for the town council regarding that, and the residents to not worry about, or the business owners to not worry about, oh my gosh, we're all going to be targeted now?
Right. I would say, don't be paranoid like that. Figure out a way to collaborate and work together. How can you help as a resident or a business owner or a council member? How can you help? How can you help merge these groups together, merge all these opinions together, and collaborate with one another? It's not, it shouldn't be a, oh, gotcha mentality. It should be a, okay, well, let's work together on solving these issues. And I think, to me, having a group to get consensus with that are from all different areas, to me, that makes a lot more sense than trying to create something in a vacuum.
Do you have a lawyer on board?
We do not. We have a city attorney and a team of city attorneys that work in conjunction with us. But we do not have a particular council member that is a lawyer.
I'm pretty sure Rexanne, or council member Hassafrost down here, wanted there to be an attorney on the board. But it sounds like you don't think that's...
Oh, you mean on the nuisance abatement
Yes.
board? I don't recall that we do.
Okay.
I don't think we do.
Well, I think it's because the one proposed here is going to have a different function than the one out in the Cape. It's
Okay.
going to be dealing with serious crimes.
There's only
And
like
so-
4 or 5 crimes that they had
Do you want me to read
specifically.
it for
Go
you?
right ahead. Not the whole ordinance.
Well, no, it's not the ordinance. This is the Florida statute that local administrative action to abate drug-related, prostitution-related, or stolen property-related public nuisances and criminal gang activity. And then they include any pain management clinic that might not be acting. So
now, your
they're-
eyes are bugging out of your head because
Yeah.
that's a crime. That's a law
criminal
enforcement thing.
Yeah, that's not something that we would tackle with the
No
with the
kidding.
board. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I would not. I mean, that to me is that's all.
Police
That's violent
department.
crime. Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, are they partnering with the sheriff's department on this? And
well, that's one of the plans. Yeah.
I think the sheriff's department is
Yeah.
going to have some input, or
Yeah.
at this point, there hasn't been any. There's probably been some discussions, but it's.
I would probably ask some questions to the council in terms of what their goals were with this, because that to me is violent crime, and I would never put a citizen.
Aha.
I wouldn't want to do that because I'm not the expert. I don't
Right.
know the law. I don't know.
Which is probably
which
why
is
Rexanne
why-
wanted
yeah,
a lawyer
right,
on the board.
Right, but if
Someone
you have
with
a city
trial.
attorney,
Yeah.
they should be able to advise on that.
Yeah.
I think, I
Interesting.
think they pulled the one from Fort Myers City, their abatement board, and it actually included a couple things that this one doesn't.
Right.
So
And I think part of what it doesn't include, the one they're thinking about down here, is alcohol consumption, and that's a major
But
you
and
know,
that's
problem
but that's
with what
because
leads
it's
to the
not
crime.
listed. It's not. It's
Right.
not under Florida statutes, so that
Right.
that falls under the people who monitor the liquor licenses up in Tallahassee to deal with that stuff. So, is my understanding.
Yeah.
How important is it for Cape Coral to have its own police department and not rely on the sheriff's department? I mean, how?
Well, we're the
It's
la-
huge.
the-
I know
we're-
it's bigger. I know it's bigger.
I mean, we're like the 8th largest city in the state of Florida.
Gotcha.
We have over 200 or probably close to 200,000 residents. So we've got a little bit of a
Yeah.
different makeup. I think the jurisdiction of having county here, to me, it makes sense. I don't know what your population is.
Right.
And I'm not sure, I'd have to ask Sheriff Carmine, how it works in terms of each area that has the law enforcement from the county representation. But I don't know. I mean, that would be a great question for our police chief or somebody in law enforcement.
We
'cause I
did
don't
put a
know where
request
the-
in to interview him about this.
Do what?
We did put a request in. To
Oh, you
interview him about-
did? Well, maybe I'll give
because he
him a
sounded
call.
like he was so in favor of this. It
Uh-huh.
would be great to get his opinion to share with the folks down here.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Well, I'll ask
well,
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
So, anything else on the
No.
NAB? What is your? Just while we have you here, what do you think about the lights on Burnt Store Road? Because we had Tom on, and he talked about how those lights look like they're lighting up the stadium lights. I mean, he just
Well, knowing what I know now about having worked with my friends at the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Fund and the turtles and the wildlife, that all is a little bit concerning to me. I do agree that we definitely need those lights.
Right.
We need lights everywhere,
Right.
especially, I mean, my mom's here from Houston and she's like, I cannot believe that you do not have street lights.
Right.
And I'm like, well, Mom, it's not, it's
It's
different
complicated.
here. Yeah. And so, I get a little bit concerned with us maybe not being as environmentally sensitive maybe than we should be. So I know I've brought that forward to Public Works and to our community development department to say, hey, can we change, can we think about how we're changing our lighting so that it if there is an effect on wildlife, that we are cognizant of that we are being sensitive to
Yeah.
that.
Have you been on Burnt Store?
No, not late.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I need to though,
Yeah.
just to check it out.
I mean, yeah, I haven't been out there in forever either. But the images that he showed, it's like planes could land out
Oh,
there.
sure,
So I mean,
sure.
it's really, really, really bright.
Is your government an elected mayor or? Okay, so you
Yes.
have to run for mayor.
You have to
It's
run
different
for
down
mayor.
here.
Yeah. So you got to run for mayor. I think you guys do appointments, don't
Yeah,
you?
well, the council votes a mayor in.
That's right. Yeah, like Sanibel. Sanibel's the same
right,
way.
right, right.
No, we are an elected body by the public, but we are a city manager run form of government.
How do you think your city manager's doing?
He's brand new. I
Oh.
mean, I am hopeful. I think he brought some really great experience. He's got some different management of larger populations, and I really respect that. My hope with hiring him or voting for him was that he can help us get through those growing pains when
Yeah.
we go from maybe 200,000 to 400,000. Like he will understand what those growing pains look like for a city of our size.
What's the salary of a city your size for a city manager? I know it's public knowledge, but
I
what is
think
it?
we pay over 200. is
Over
what I wanna
200.
say.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And our previous guy made 187.
Interesting.
So-
And your population is what?
It's close to 200,000.
200,000. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask: were you on the council during the blue green algae thing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
How are things over there now? How is this year?
We
been
just
so
got,
good.
well, it's been great up until yesterday. We got we got a press release from the Florida Health
Imagine
Department that there was some blue green algae spotted in one of the canals.
Yep.
We have a lot of environmentalists in our community that argue it's because of the stormwater runoff. One of the reasons that I brought the fertilizer ordinance forward was to try to help with that. And even though I explained, look, guys, we got to do our part. We can't just, if we're going to talk the talk, we got to walk the walk. And, Councilmember Gunter actually felt that it wasn't a one-size-fits-all fertilizer ordinance, which I don't know that I agree with, because even though we have residents like myself who don't live on the water, we still have stormwater runoff.
Yeah, it still makes its way
So to be
there.
able to lengthen our fertilizer ordinance a month in the beginning and a month at the end, to me, was going to be a help. But we're going to go back to the drawing board. I'm confident we'll get it passed the second time.
So right now there's an ordinance where you can only use it during a certain amount of time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right now we are June through September.
So you said the population of Cape Coral is what?
It's close to 200,000.
200,000. What's the population on the beach?
Around 7,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
7,000, not 700,000.
No,
7,000.
7,000.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So
He's
are you
being
going to run for
snarky.
mayor?
No.
Come on.
No way, man.
Why not?
No way. Because you don't get paid enough to put up with that. What that poor man has to deal with. No, I will not. I am going to look at possibly a county level
Nice.
type seat. Maybe
there's no
eventually.
women on the county
I
board. What the
know,
hell's
I
up with
know,
that?
I
That's
know.
not right.
I want to do it because I figure I can add a little bit of diversity and maybe a little bit different of a voice. But we'll see. That's still 2 years away.
Well,
so
don't
we'll
run for Frank Mancy because apparently that guy's going to be elected. I don't know anything about Frank. I haven't followed him, but apparently he'll be elected for the rest of his life.
Well,
if
now
he
they have
wants to.
term limits. So
What are the years? How many?
commissioner, you can serve 3 terms, so 12 years total.
Oh, that's
Commissioner
too
Hammond
long.
brought that forward right when
Oh,
he
he did?
started.
That's
yeah,
right,
it was
yeah.
a great job, and
Yeah.
so now there's term limits. So I think Commissioner Mann was grandfathered in.
So he
and
can run forever.
I think so. Yeah,
Good for him.
Yeah. So, but he ran and he clearly he won. He won
Right,
by a
right.
landslide. So
He ran and he
so
won.
yeah,
The people
So, but
wanted
Oh
him.
yeah, they love him. So
Yeah.
who would be the next seat on the county that comes open?
I don't know yet. That's always we got to wait and see. Nobody. I don't think anyone's terming out next time. I think it'll
Yeah.
be some of their last terms. So we'll see.
So you said there's 200,000 residents,
Close to it, yeah.
and it's growing like
Crazy.
wildfire.
Mhm.
And the city manager gets paid about 200,000.
About
Okay.
maybe a little over.
Yeah. I'm sure he deserves every penny of it.
Oh
Probably
gosh,
doing
to
a
put
great
it. I
job
mean, that's
out there.
another job. That's a
Yeah.
big job.
Yeah, and did you get all your questions in,
I
wifey?
did.
All right. Well, Jennifer, we're sorry we made you sit under the
Oh, no, it's
interrogation
okay. It's
lights
okay.
here,
It's
but
okay.
we
No
got code
worries.
violated. Usually, there's a breeze outside, but that's a whole
I'm
different story.
sorry.
That's all right. That's all right.
You should contact Mayor Saracita and talk to her about
She's
that.
no longer.
She's the former mayor
Oh,
now.
she's not.
Yes.
Who's the mayor now?
Ray Murphy.
Ray Murphy.
Oh,
She's doing a
okay.
great job.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
deal.
Things change all the time around here.
I
so,
do.
but we
It
want to
is-
thank you for
Yes, thank
coming
you
all the
so
way
much.
out here. And I didn't mean to startle you by not being out there and making
No,
you.
that's
oh my God, I
okay.
came all the way out here and they're not doing the show.
I know. I was like, and I was going to try to call
Because I
Councilmember
said-
Gunter, but-
I said to her, "You can't miss us. You're going to walk right down Times Square. You're
Yeah,
going to see
right.
us out there, and we're not
Right.
there."
It was
so.
a last minute.
Yeah.
Last minute
well,
change.
thank y'all
So
so
thank
much.
you have
so
a great
much for
weekend.
coming
Thanks
on.
for coming
Great.
out, Jennifer Nelson. Everybody, vote for her for county commissioner when she runs.
Well, we'll
And
see.
thank you
We'll
very
see.
much for coming out here. And wow, 200,000 people. That is a big, big city. And $200,000. Okay, well, she's taken off. And we have another quick guest. Marie, come on down. We're going to talk to you. We want to introduce you to somebody who is on our staff now. And her name is Marie. Some of you have met her, some of you have seen her. And she's our salesperson now. And she has been calling on some businesses. And she was so worried about coming on. Why were you so worried about coming
Well,
on?
my hair got frizzy.
You see, it's all about the hair, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Get the microphone nice and close.
Okay.
All right.
Don't yell at her. She's already
I know
nervous
I'm
enough.
nervous.
Now, why are you nervous?
Well,
Marie?
my air conditioning went out in the car on the way here, so it was like the heat was blowing. Then I came here and it's hot, and
Yeah, well, it's
You know.
summertime and it's Florida, so yeah, it's hot.
I'm
It's
sorry.
gonna be warm.
And we're under the interrogation lights
Yes,
until
I
further
see
notice.
that.
So,
I know. That's all right, though.
so
I'm good.
how are things going on the sales trail? Like when you go out there, how many times have you gotten the door slammed in your face because people hate me and they don't they don't want anything to do with the show? And how's that going?
So often. No, actually, I would say 90% of the people that I have called know you guys, love you guys, are
Wow.
very interested in talking to me.
They love her.
Yes,
mostly.
They do.
So
But they love you too.
the
but
5
they do love
people
him.
that do like
yeah,
you.
the few people who didn't like you or didn't know you, no, I'm kidding. No, honestly, everybody loves you guys. Everybody listens to the show. If they didn't listen to the show, they knew someone who listened to the show.
Very
so
nice.
it's actually been a lot of fun talking to people. So it's great.
And we appreciate you going out and selling the show. You got Nervous Nellies on for us. Now we're talking
Yes.
about the website and the newsletter and
Yes.
and some other folks that are close. And we have JPS Vacation Rentals on the website. And
Yep.
we got Jim Levins, who ran for sheriff and didn't
Mhm.
win. He got
Yeah.
crushed. So much for he. I think it was like 70-30. I mean, it was a total landslide. But
Stop.
anyway,
Yeah.
well, I'm just giving the truth out. I mean, that is what it is. So,
And
is
we've gone up to, let's see, we've gone up to Snug Harbor together, and then we
Yes.
went down. We went down to the south end to check out some
Yeah,
places
it's
down there.
Funny because I've lived here for 25 years, and I didn't even realize there was so much here. I mean, the Santini Plaza, the Seagrave Plaza. I don't think I've ever even gone down First Street. I mean, where have I been going? I don't know. But
So
Snug
there's a
Harbor
lot
is-
of stuff for people to come down
there
and
really
see. Come
is.
down
There
and visit.
really
It's
is.
really-
Nervous Nellies is great. I brought the family there, and we had an amazing dinner. We had a great time at Snug Harbor. I learned all about peel and eat shrimp.
Yeah, she had never had peel and eat shrimp.
neither have I.
Never.
And
I
I was
don't
like,
eat
Yeah,
what?
but you don't like seafood. She likes
I was
seafood.
like, what do I do? And Kim was like, peel and eat. Who knew?
Well, you're doing a fabulous job. Now, this is an aggressive salesperson. I mean, it's you're out there. Now, a lot of the times you got to get salespeople and you got to train them and you got to push them and you got to get sales calls written down and things like that. But she's out there and she gets upset when she doesn't close a sale. But we appreciate you being out there
Thank you.
and working hard for us. And we pay her in alcohol, by the way, mostly tequila. So, no, I'm just
Rum
kidding.
Runners just started
Rum
this
Runners,
morning, nice and early.
So if you're
Yes.
interested in advertising on the website or the newsletter, now that we have the kinks worked out,
Yeah.
this is the person who's going to come and see you or call you on the phone. And most of the time, she's a very nice person. And the rest of the time, she gets
She
really
is-
pissy when she doesn't close a sale.
She's always very nice, very affable. She's got lots of information, makes some really good points. So please, now
Somebody
you've
asked-
seen her face, you'll know when
Right.
she's coming in.
And you've seen her
Yes.
flat hair because of the heat.
I
Somebody
know,
asked,
it's so
have you
frizzy.
called on South Florida Clean Water Movement for a sponsorship?
No,
Well,
I
then-
have not.
All right.
But
Well,
she
get on
will
the
be.
phone.
I
Now
will be
she's
on
gonna
Monday.
follow
Thank you.
that up.
Absolutely, I will.
All right, Marie.
Yeah.
Thanks. You're going to hang out for a
Yes,
little bit? All
absolutely.
right. Thank you. We're going to hang out because we like to spend money here and
Yes.
keep
Yes.
the local business
Yes,
going.
I just had a great rum runner here at Pete's Time Out. It was amazing.
How many calories are in a rum runner,
Who
Marie?
cares? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
right.
I care.
You care
I do
more than
care.
anybody. All right. Before we get to our final segment where we talk about the letter, I do want to let everybody know about this great deal that's going on. These folks called us up and said, we advertise this house called Seahabilitate, which is on Virginia Avenue. It's 134 Virginia Avenue. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's like within walking distance of our buddies at Hoosiers. It's within walking distance of the beach. There's a video. If you go to Facebook, Seahabilitate on Facebook, you'll see the owner of the house walking out to the beach. It takes approximately 3 minutes to get there. It's simply amazing. Do you know where Virginia Avenue is?
No, I haven't committed to memory the map of all the streets.
It's close
down
to where
here.
Hoosiers is.
Oh, well,
so
then
you
that's
can go
pretty
there
close.
for a
Yeah,
burger and
yeah.
a beer. You can sit out on the porch outside.
That's a nice location because you can still easily get here, but you also can get, to the quieter side of things.
Right. I don't know what that means, but if you like Diamond Head, it's right across the street from Diamond Head. So you can look at Diamond Head while you're hanging out at your rental. It's going to be from now until October 10th, $1,000 a week. That's it.
Wow.
And that includes all the fun stuff like the beach toys, the beach umbrellas, the beach chairs. The house is managed by Tri Power Vacation Rentals. And you
How
make
many can stay there?
What's
the occupancy?
I don't know. It's a
Oh,
3-bedroom, 2
so at
baths,
least 6 people.
30 people. You can probably stuff. No,
No.
I'm kidding.
There is a limit.
There's
but
probably a code violation for 30 people, but
Yes.
it also has a private pool in case you want to just hang out at the house and
that's
not
nice.
go out to the water. So what you want to do is get in touch with
When
them
are we going?
on the Facebook. Seahabilitate, ASEH, not SEA, Seahabilitate, and that's plus fees, of course. That's $1,000, $829 through October the 10th. Check them out. It's on Virginia Avenue, and imagine if we had a place on Virginia Avenue.
Imagine.
Be awesome. All right, everybody, we want to thank you all for tuning in. We did run a little bit over, but we also want to talk about what happened to us, and we want to again show you guys how much we appreciate the fact that you supported us on the Facebook post where we were code violated yesterday. We got a FedEx in the mail that showed us a picture of the two of us sitting there with Dane Eagle. Poor Dane Eagle.
I know.
He got in the picture with us, and then he got jinxed.
That was a rough loss, I'm sure, for him. It was so close.
But the thing that we wanted to talk about, we want to thank you all.
You keep saying we, and I'm getting nervous.
Well, I'm going to say me then, because I know. Well, I want you to say your piece first. Then go ahead. No, because you want to say something about it. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
All right. What I want to say is, we've been out there for 2 years. It's coming up on 2 years now, and for if we were violating a code at some point, somebody should have said to us, we've had Anita on, we've had Ray on, we've had Roger was even on once at the beginning before he got mad. We had Jim Adderholt. We've had almost every council person on. Bruce was on. The only two people that we didn't have on were Joanne Champ and Tracy Gore. Pretty much every other council member came on, and nobody said you're violating a code. Nobody said you need to take the sign down. If we were, we would have taken the sign down, or we would have said, okay, well, we don't want to do that. We never want to put John and Debbie in a position where their business is going to be targeted, or we're doing something wrong where they're going to get fined. Now, luckily and happily, they weren't mentioned in the letter. It was strictly, it was sent to our house, and it was sent to Beach Talk Radio News, which, I mean, technically that's not who was there. It's Beach Talk Radio, which isn't an LLC. Beach Talk Radio News is an LLC, and that's what they targeted. But
that's true.
The other thing I was told was the minute that you started reading ads, it became a business other than you're just recording there. Well, we've been reading ads for well over a year. Again, people were on the show that make the decisions for the town. If we're violating a code, I don't want you guys to think this is a pity party. We're not trying to say we were wronged in any way. If we're violating a code, we don't want to violate a code.
No.
We don't want to. I am not a rule breaker. I am not going to riot and loot now because I feel like I deserve something. I don't deserve anything. I don't.
No, I think we want to be in compliance, but we also want to be allowed to continue to provide this show and the service. And we appreciate so much all of the support for people that have come out and been very vocal about their objection to it. And I mean, again, we don't want you to go out and picket or anything. We're going to figure this out.
Right. And by the way, this isn't it is not the same thing as a band that's playing on Times Square, or they have a different permit for the stage. It is not the same thing as the lunatic that screams through the bullhorn. It's not the same thing. It's what we did. If we violated the code, we want to own up to it and say, we did wrong. We didn't know we violated the code. That's on us, because if we didn't know, we should have found out. We understand that. But the other thing is, the reason that we sit out there is not because of the content, because we could do the content anywhere. The reason we sit out there is because we love Fort Myers Beach and we love Times Square. We know you guys like to see the beach. You guys like to see the Times Square. You guys like to look at people as they walk by, and that's cool. That adds to the video of the show. So we're trying to promote the beach. We're trying to promote Times Square. They've gone through red tide. They've gone through COVID. They're still going through COVID. You force the masks on the employees. Now I'm talking about the government. You force the mask on the employees. Everything that you can do to screw the businesses down here, you've done. And you're not going to give them a break on the rent that they have to pay. You're going to make sure you increase the rent when the rent comes up at the end of the year. And that's just an unfortunate thing. All we're trying to do is promote the beach because we love the beach. And, how much of the beach do you see being promoted outside the bridge, on the other side of the bridge? How much do you see billboards during the off season in Fort Myers or Cape Coral or Lehigh or wherever? Come to the beach. The beach isn't crowded. It's not season. Come spend money with our restaurants. You don't see any of that. And so, again, this isn't a pity party. This is just us. We are trying to promote the beach. Now, that aside,
listen, I'm not going to sit here and let it go by that you don't say things.
For sure. I was going to get to that.
Well, it was only an hour show originally, but yes, you this one?
Yeah.
you
Go
know, you do promote the beach. We do promote the beach, and I do try to bring in the environmental stuff, and it's something that I care about. So we do that, but you also say things that are
Right.
inflammatory. So there's
Well,
that.
not so much on the
not
show.
just that.
It's not so much on the show as it is on Facebook. Maybe, and sometimes it is on the show.
Well, right
And-
now it is.
Right. And we know that if you think that the code violation that we were given yesterday was just about the code, as if the code was written last week where you were told, hey, here's a new code, you can't be out there, that's bullshit. What is true is that it was political, because somebody found the code where they could actually, they haven't built what we built. And I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but they haven't built what we built, so they don't have the platform to rebut if we disagree with somebody, if we call them out on something. And there is this, we know pretty much who we think did it. And I do want to say one thing. I did include Ray Murphy in the beginning of the post, and I apologize, Ray, for that. I shouldn't have done that, because I assumed, probably wrongly, that you knew what was going on, or you know what was going on. And I don't know that you did or didn't. And I don't pretend that you're listening, other than the 9 people that we have. But I shouldn't have done that. I know that things don't get done. People don't blow their nose on this beach without Roger approving of it. Everything goes through Roger. He has more power than anybody on this beach, and he shouldn't have as much power as he does. But that's besides the point. That's just my opinion. He's an overpaid town manager that targets people on the beach. Didn't target us. But I apologize to Ray. I took it off there a couple hours after I put it up there. So I did want to make sure that you guys knew why I took it off, because I don't know for sure. I don't think Ray cares what we do on this show. I don't think it means beans to him what we do on this show. A different story. But it was all about politics. Somebody found a way to try. You guys, some people have done more to try and shut us down than you have tried to shut down a situation or an establishment where murder and other major crimes take place. So that's the ironic thing about it, because every single council member except 2 have been on the show and have never said anything. And to get that letter, it would have been just as easy. The bad publicity that you're getting with people now, compared to just saying to us, coming up to us and saying you can't do this, it's not legal for you to be doing this, would have been much easier, because we would have got up and took our stuff inside.
So your contention is that you would have preferred it to be someone come and tell you rather than send you an official letter.
When somebody sends you a letter that threatens you with a $5,000 fine after you've been there for 2 years, I think deserved a little bit of an explanation. Hey, I know you've been doing this for 2 years, but by the way, you got a complaint filed against you. Somebody filed a complaint against you, and now you're in the system. You broke the rules. I don't know why nobody said anything to you, because this looks like an ordinance from 2010 that clearly states that John and Debbie are only allowed to serve food on the table. Now, if they're trying to twist it to say the minute that you started reading ads, it became a business, well, again, you let it go. Why did you let it go for so long? Because nobody filed a complaint? Is that the answer?
Food, though.
Well, that's right. We're paying customers. We eat food. We tip well. And, I think that's besides the point. But so if there's a way to get back out there, we'll figure it out. If there's a way to get, I hate to say this, but a variance or some kind of special exception.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll give it a go.
This is a little bit, though, about what people talked about with the nuisance abatement board. They didn't want people targeting other people, and Jim was very eloquent when he spoke that, I'm not speaking for him. This is what I took from it, that it was not directed at one person, that the nuisance abatement board would be something that would be looking at all places, so that there wouldn't be this perception of targeting. And yet it just,
well, I mean, the whole thing, it's like Roger, to me, is a glorified HOA president. because you send the HOA. This is what the HOA does to you. They go to your house, they take pictures of your mulch. They tell you your mulch isn't red enough, or they tell you that you need to have another bush or plant. So what they did was they sent Bill Stout out from the code enforcement office, and I have nothing against Bill. He's doing his job. Take a picture of Ed and Kim sitting there so that we have proof that they're breaking the rules. Well, just come up and tell us we're breaking the rules. And this is the rule you're breaking. I'm not going to ever put John in a position. What?
We have to give away the hat.
Oh, that's right. We're never going to put John in a position. Thank you for reminding me.
Sorry about coming.
I'm getting
All right,
on a roll
go,
like that.
Come on.
All right, everybody. Enough of me rambling.
Good
we have a
Lord.
hat that was mailed to us. By Kylie Morgan and
Did
Jay
it come
Allen.
in a Federal
It did not
Express thing?
come in a Federal Express, and it doesn't threaten me with a $5,000 fine. And we're going to give it away.
It is a signed hat.
It's signed by Jay and Kylie, who are country stars in Nashville. And John got them to sign one of these pink hats, which is really cool. And so how are we giving it away?
Well, I think, however, the first person to email you.
No, well, first
Okay.
person to call your phone.
No, I'm not giving out my phone number.
All right, the
You've
first
done
person
that.
to call my phone, 247-3833. You win the hat. Just leave me a voicemail. The first person will win the hat. It's a lovely hat, and it's autographed by people that will win country music awards very soon. They are superstars in their own right.
They're really,
They're fabulous.
They're past the beginning stages. They are
Oh,
on their
yeah,
way,
yeah.
and they are both going to be superstars very soon. So
Yeah.
you're going to want to have this.
239. Did I give out my right phone number?
239.
247-3833. The first person through is going to win the hat. And thank you so much for everybody for listening to us ramble. We'll keep you up to date. And all we wanted to say again was thank you to everybody. We do have a special show coming up on Wednesday at Snug Harbor. We'll tell you more about that in the next few days. A lot of crazy crap's going on with all of our stuff. So, and
Thank you
we
so
appreciate you
much.
helping us grow it. And stay tuned for more live action and not so live action. And thank you all. And that's it.
That's it. All right.
Big
thank
audience today. Thanks. Bye-bye.